Hey everyone, this is Maine Manalansan Veneracion, an all-around creative.
And Kevin Veneracion, a mental health professional.
Welcome to Therapop,
a conversation podcast where we therapize your favorite pop culture characters.
Hello again. It is very late in the evening. Just wanted to be honest with you guys so that alam natin the expectations. The topic for today is very opposite of what I'm experiencing right now because the movies for this week are about basta friends with benefits.
Wait, why is it opposite to what we're feeling now?
Kasi like friends with benefits like very like tsuktsakan kayo all the way versus me right now. Like, I'm pregnant. I am the outcome of... I am the end result of the friends with benefits. Ako yung end result. Anyway, so we are discussing two films for this episode and we thought of clumping it together because, number one, they were both released in the same year, which is a very strange occurrence in the pop culture space.
Did anyone ever figure out why sabay sila lumabas ng basically the same movie?
I don't know nga but okay, sige, for context, the movies we're talking about are No Strings Attached with Natalie Portman and Ashton Kutcher, and then Friends with Benefits with Justin Timberlake and Mila Kunis.
So both were released in 2011?
Yeah, both were released in 2011, and I'm sure these were in production like maybe let's say a year before 2011. Tapos naalala ko, like 1 month, 2 months apart lang yung film.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
And parang, ano ba?
So, sabay talaga silang ginawa.
Exactly.
Do you think they knew during the production process na, oh my God, may karibal tayo, may kalaban tayo?
For sure. I think the studios are talking about it naman. And I think during that time, that conversation of having friends with benefits is also very, like people were talking about it.
Yeah, there must have been, like a trend in society, and then Hollywood sort of just, kumbaga, capitalize on it. So that probably means like, I don't know, somewhere in that time period, nagpipick up yung trend of being friends with benefits.
Yeah, and I tried doing research. I don't know if you found something else, pero I checked kasi if it has something to do with dating apps or Tinder, for example, and hindi naman exactly because Tinder got big noong 2013 and these movies were released in 2011, so hindi siya pasok.
Ano daw? 2011 My Cupid.
Okay Cupid.
Okay Cupid. Joke lang.
Okay Cupid kasi yun.
Yung luma na yun. Yung
yeah. Okay Cupid is before ano to?
Yeah.
Before Tinder.
It was way before. So
yeah.
Not really 2011.
Yeah. And then I thought na maybe it has something to do with fuck buddies or FUBU.
Ano bang difference ng FUBU, fuck buddy FUBU from Friends with Benefits?
From my understanding, Friends with Benefits, well, you start out as friends and then tsaka lang nagkaroon ng Pag-ibig SSS, PhilHealth, aka the benefits. Versus like fuck buddies, it's more of like we are strangers, just acquaintances, and then we have this arrangement.
Sabi sa internet, basically daw with
sabi sa internet.
Yeah, basically daw with friends.
The Facebook said.
No, sabi din sa isang article na basically with friends with benefits, you can imagine yourself going out for coffee after.
You can.
Magko-coffee kayo after mag-sex.
Oh.
Or magbe-breakfast kayo sa Denny's or sa IHOP. Compare sa FUBU na...
Well, I think even fuck buddies get hungry. Right?
Yeah, pero di ba kasi getting breakfast after sex is like more of like an intimate act. So it's not something...
So kung fuck buddy ano yung joke before, yung sabi nila masarap daw yung pagkain sa what's the hotel? The red one? Sogo? Sogo. Sarap daw yung pansit sa Sogo. So, kung friends with benefits kayo, magdadays kayo. Pero pag fuck buddies, pansit lang sa Sogo.
Based on personal experience, man.
No. Actually, that's the thing. For this episode, I don't have experience with this. Kevin is our point person, our main resource person when it comes to friends with benefits.
No, mine was very, very short actually.
Mamaya mo na ikwento.
A few weeks at most.
Okay, mamaya mo na ikwento. Doon na tayo sa like, let's do the whole process. Okay, before we continue, don't slam your mic, ha? Okay.
Can we retract that statement? Because I just realized my parents might be watching this.
May asawa ka na naman eh. Mag-matter pa ba yun?
I was in a friends with benefits before. Anyway,
premarital sex is bad. What? We talked about teenage sex. We talked about teenage sex before this episode. Do you think hindi tayo papagalitan nun?
Anyway, sige, let's gloss over that statement and come on, what's next?
Okay. Smooth transition to another thing na papagalitan tayo. So why do people hook up or engage in premarital sex, Kevin?
I mean, I wouldn't know because I didn't do it before marriage. But anyway, I don't know. Maybe because by nature we're very social creatures and we crave intimacy.
Okay, but the thing is it really intimacy? Hindi ba parang who is the philosopher who is all about like drives?
Si Freud.
Yun. So it's not necessarily intimacy. Isn't like hook up at the core of it just wanting to release this need that you have.
So parang ano lang siya, I guess, yung sexual drive or primal drive. That's what
Yeah.
Pwede naman, pero kahit sabihin natin mental health professional ako, ako for me, parang maraming concepts si Freud na I don't think are necessary.
Hot take right here.
True. I mean, Freud is very important because siya talaga yung nag-start nung trying to understand more yung mga subconscious, unconscious conflicts when it comes to psych. For example, mga id, ego, superego. But it doesn't necessarily mean na lahat ng sinabi niya are things that we still believe up to this day. But he was the one who started the science of it.
Yeah, but my question is not about Freud. My question is about hookup. Parang, is it always,
I don't
may
think,
intimacy ba always?
I don't think naman na it's always just a release of the primal drive, but I think it's, for example, psychologically, emotionally, it's also a way for us to, reaffirm ourselves, validate ourselves, and even neurobiologically, it's like a drug, basically. Kasi during the act of sex, nagre-release ng oxytocin, which is your parang bonding hormone, and dopamine, which is your like feel-good hormone. Anyway, we can talk about that some more later, pero I think it's also a neurobiological thing, and that's why people go for sex. So anyway, yun yan. And then,
yes, but I mean, if you don't want to engage in, sorry, my brain is stuck in the premarital sex tuloy. If you don't want to engage in that, you can easily exercise.
Yeah, because exercise will...
It's the same.
Yeah, exercise will also release the dopamine, and then playing with your pets, like with DK, it's also gonna...
Why is it so... My brain is so R18 right now.
It's oxytocin, even just playing with your pets. So it's
yeah,
like
it's bonding hormone.
Yeah.
Kasi when you said playing with your pets, like, oh my God, it's really so late. Sabaw ko na. Okay, so yes, it's the same as playing with your pets. Or exercising.
Yeah, it's the same, pero alam naman natin yung intensity is different.
Yes.
Okay, the levels are different.
Okay, yes. So, I mean, like, maybe two setups. Like, fuck buddy is pretty straightforward. Pero yung friends with benefits kasi, it's much more complicated because there is a relationship, not a romantic relationship, but a relationship to start with. So, question is, ano ba yung parameters? Ano yung criteria to become, to call something a friends with benefits setup?
Una sa lahat, kailangan friends kayo.
Yes.
Pero parang friends kasi hindi naman sinasabi kung how close you are of friends. Pwede namang friends na parang acquaintance lang. So basically talagang...
So hindi kayo friends?
No, I mean you can be friends naman na hindi close. You can be friends
yeah,
na hindi
but,
close.
okay, ano ba yung levels of friendship? Kasi according to The Sims, you have acquaintances, you have friends, you have good friends, and then you have like best friend.
Well, according to research on friends with benefits, the people who answered those, iba-iba talagang degrees of friendship. For some, it's just really more of, okay, we're friends because we know each other, but basically this is more for the sex. For some naman, it's we've been friends for so long and we're both waiting for the right persons in our lives. In the meantime, let's have sex hanggang dumating yung Mr. Right, Miss Right natin.
Okay, Kim Chu.
So yun, marami naman.
Okay. Well, I guess, okay, so you're friends, but I think the other thing is, dapat wala kayong crush sa isa't isa. I don't know if there are friends na may crush dun sa isa, tapos nagko-pros na, uy, friends with benefits tayo.
I think it's a bad idea. I think it's a bad idea. Hindi mo sa bawal, pero if we're gonna give advice, do not go into friends with benefits for someone you already have feelings for. Kasi at the end of the day, binibreak mo lang yung sarili mong heart. You're just putting yourself at risk for heartbreak.
Malay mo, umaasa sila na because after this.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're going to a friends with benefits thing, that you're hoping for an outcome na maging romantic kayo, I'm telling you, may mga studies lang ginawa, 15%.
Wow.
1-5.
Sabi nino, the Facebook?
No, sabi sa relationship, parang mga journals, as in scientific journals, na they did interviews of like mga 300 friends with benefits couples, gano'n. And they found out na only 15% would really proceed sa romantic relationship. Majority would remain as friends with benefits or would remain as friends lang.
Ano yung percentage na you won't even come out of it as friends?
Doon sa study, parang less than 10%.
Oh.
So basically, friends with benefits and no strings attached, kayo yung parang the minority.
Yeah, the 15%.
You're basically selling a fake dream for all our friends with benefit couples out there.
Yeah. Yes. And then, okay, the other thing na I think for it to become, I guess, successful-ish, to be part of the 15%, might be a good idea na hindi nyo kilala yung pamilya na isa't isa.
Or kung kilala man, parang not on a very intimate level.
Yeah.
Kasi, sige. So, that one, don't know your families, dapat wala kayong feelings to start with. I guess idagdag na rin muna natin no, yung hindi kayo magsasnuggle after. Parang ganon.
You know, I was watching a video earlier. There are some who snuggle kasi it's part of like after sex care. There's such a thing eh.
Yeah, pero it increases definitely yung risk na mayroong magka-feeling sa inyo.
Bakit? Is there like a hormone that gets triggered?
Yeah, so we're gonna move to what happens to your brain pag nagsa-sex. So basically when you have sex, ang nare-release na hormones dyan are, as mentioned kanina, yung oxytocin, which is like the same hormone that gets released when
the playing with your pets hormone.
Yeah, and more strongly when mothers care for their babies. It's basically the maternal bonding attachment hormone. So number 1, na-releasing sa sex. Number 2, dopamine, which is basically the hormone that gets released when you take drugs. It's basically the feel-good.
That's why it's called dope.
It's called the feel-good hormone. Actually, I didn't think about that. It's called dopamine.
Ngayon na nag-connect.
But it's basically the feel-good hormone and it's basically a reward hormone. You actually feel, it's what tells you na, okay, there's pleasure in this. Parang ganun. And then also serotonin, which is the happy hormone. I mean, I'm just, describing this as parang medyo layman terms na, or simplifying it, pero it's basically the happy hormone. Yun yung hormone na kapag depressed yung tao, depleted. yung serotonin. So anyway, imagine when you have sex, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, all of that get amplified. So you're feeling very good about yourself, you're feeling very good about the person. And then there's what you call afterglow, which is basically the time after sex na parang you're still basking in that feel-good thing. And studies show kasi na when you're in that period daw, naglo-lower yung mga, there are certain parts of your brain na nagsha-shut down. So basically, you're less guarded. You're more vulnerable. You share a lot of things to each other. So kung pinapatagal mo yung afterglow, which is the part na nagka-cuddle kayo, and you become more sensitive and as you become more vulnerable to each other, you share more intimate things to each other. I think it's natural na mas malaki yung chance na may isang ma-in-love sa inyo.
Yeah, so is the advice like,
don't cuddle.
tsaka and go?
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to keep it strictly friends with benefits, walang ma-in-love.
No, but the thing is,
don't do the vulnerable part.
Don't do the vulnerable part after having sex. But the thing is, you're still friends kasi even after doing the benefit or after availing the benefit.
Yeah, so go out for coffee.
Go
out for coffee.
So isn't that part of basking in the glow?
Iba kasi pa rin yung may physical touch afterwards. Kasi physical touch will continue to stimulate the release of those hormones.
Pero like a conversation won't?
Not as much. Just like for example, di ba, pag mother tsaka baby, di ba, nag-skin to skin contact talaga. And that promotes attachment or bonding behavior. I guess it's the same thing yun naman for sexual partners. Mas may physical touch kayo, mas nare-release yung mga hormones mo.
Paano ko yung friend mo touchy? Like physical touch yung love language niya in general as a person. So kunyari, lalakad kayo papuntang coffee shop. Akbay siya sa'yo.
That's exactly why may mga friends na naglalandian, di ba? So, I mean like, frisky friends tend to be more flirty friends.
Ooh! So, t-shirt mo yun, nabasa ulit.
Sa linya-linya.
We?
Di joke lang.
Akala ko totoo.
Joke lang. I'm just saying hi to your friends from linya-linya.
Okay, ang daming promo. Hello.
Wait, where were we? Sige, can I share something about, yung what happens to your brain kapag, can I share something more about what happens to your brain pag nagsisex?
Meron pa?
Yeah. Fun trivia, I learned about this tonight lang. So, a lot of the things we learn about neurobiology of sex, scientists actually discovered from experiments with what they call the prairie vole. Vole, this is a rodent, daga. So, vole is one of the few animals in the animal world na monogamous.
It sounds made up. Vole.
V-O-L-E. Prairie vole.
It's like nag-anagram ka lang ng love.
Exactly. That's what I'm gonna point out next. It is very...
Is this real?
Yeah, it's real. It's real. Nasa scientific journal siya.
Okay.
So it's very coincidental na vole is one of the few animals na monogamous sa animal kingdom. I think like 3% lang ata yung monogamous. Everybody else is not monogamous sa animal world. But doon sila nag-experiment ng neurobiology of what happens after sex and after bonding. Medyo harsh siya kasi for example, napansin nila na i-pair nila yung female and male. Tapos after 24 hours na nag-pair sila, not necessarily mate as in pair na nagsama, so nag-bonding. The next day daw, mag-show ng social preference na yung female dun sa male rather than the new male na darating. Kasi nagkaroon na sila ng parang emotional bond. Pero pag nag-sex sila, even though around 6 or 8 hours pa lang sila nagsama, pero nag-sex sila, andun na yung behavior na yun, na mag-show na talaga ng preference. Gets? And then when they try to measure mga oxytocin levels before and after sex, doon nila nakita na for example, after sex, talagang nag-spike yung mga oxytocin levels. And then for example, i-disrupt nila yung flow ng oxytocin or puputulin nila. Medyo harsh na. As in, puputulin nila physically.
As in, like, they're gonna pull them apart?
They open up the rodent or what. Anyway, when they take out the supply of oxytocin, then they revert to non-monogamous behavior. Gets? So parang dun nila nakita na oxytocin is really the bonding hormone. Alright. Yun lang, parang yun yung nila, yung parang nakita nila, medyo harsh yung ibang ways. For example, yung mga mag-partners na voles, after na nag-meet or nag-bonding, tatanggalin nila yung female, iiwan nila yung male, and then yung male magiging depressed. Then pag nilagay nila sa water to force them to swim, the depressed males give up more easily.
Ang harsh naman nun.
But anyway, yun yung basis ng how we found out about all of these hormones in human behavior.
Okay. Thanks for the sad scientific lesson. Oo naman siya.
And then, one more thing. Ito naman, wala din to sa animals, no? Pero in another journal, scientific journal, na-study daw nila na when it comes to orgasm, parang there are, like I said kanina, parts of your brain na parang nagsha-shutdown talaga para mas ramdam mo yung orgasm. So it's kinda like how
Again, for females.
There are parts of your brain during orgasm that kind of shut down. So, for example, yung parts of your brain that control, I think, parang conscious thoughts or something like that. You know, conscious thoughts. Pero, basta parang nagsha-shut down yung other parts of your brain.
Right.
So, there's less activity going on. Kasi there's more focus on the actual sensation of the orgasm. So, parang sinasilence mo yung other parts of your brain para yung buong focus mo na dun sa orgasm na feeling.
Yeah.
And that's why it feels so intense.
Is this why it's called The Little Death? There's a movie about this.
Talaga.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Pero yung analogy doon nila is kinda like, mas na-appreciate mo daw yung fireworks kapag madilim yung sky. So, sinashutdown niya yung other senses para mas may emphasis dun sa
for females.
For both sexes, pero for some reason, mas intense nangyayari yun sa females, and that's why females daw have stronger orgasms.
Right.
So basically, lesson to be learned, sex is kinda like a drug. So, ba't hindi natin sinama yung love and other drugs? Jake Gyllenhaal. Isn't that friends with benefits also?
True. But was it released in 2011?
But anyway, so sex is like a drug, and yung effect niya sa brain ng tao. And that's why ang hirap pag heartbroken kasi it's like a drug addict being cut off from his supply.
Huh?
Gets?
Okay. Because love is a drug.
Yeah, no, neurobiologically speaking,
Yeah.
it's the same thing as a drug. Kasi it spikes your dopamine levels. And basically what happens in the brain is pag sanay, sige, for example, you're in a 2-year relationship, mas generally good yung relationship na yun. So, ang daming instances na ang taas ng dopamine levels mo. When that happens in your brain, it's like somebody taking drugs for a long time. Na nasasanay yung brain mo na ang taas ng dopamine levels ko.
Yeah.
So, ngayon, pag biglang tinanggal mo yung supply, nag-break kayo, the brain is gonna crave for those dopamine levels na nasanay siya.
So, kaya kayo nag-rebound?
Kaya nag-rebound, kaya parang intense yung parang cravings mo for you know, long after your ex, or going for
kaya like the video that we watched earlier, parang the friends with benefits setup, a lot of them started kasi galing sila ng long-term relationship.
Yeah, and then they miss sex.
And then they miss sex, but they don't want to commit. They just want
that's the physical pleasure of it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a drug user, sober na may cravings and wanting to do drugs again.
Yeah.
I sound like hindi talaga romantic when I break it down like this, pero
yeah, I know.
pero I think pwede naman both science and softer parts.
I guess.
Anyway.
Well, going back to the characters in the movie, parang I'm wondering if any of them came from long-term relationships. Parang wala eh. So let's say, okay, let's start with no strings attached. So, si Ashton kasi, yung setup niya doon was he is an art director in a website.
No, that's Justin.
Huh?
That's Justin.
Who is Ashton?
Ashton is yung anak ng actor.
The director, yung nagda-direct ng Glee.
Yeah,
yung nagda-direct ng High School Musical.
Staff lang siya.
Yeah.
Staff siya ng production crew.
Yeah, and then like he's trying to submit a script, whatever.
Yeah. Tapos tatay niya yung medyo womanizer na dating sikat na actor who cheated on his mom. Yun yung background ni Ashton.
Okay. But no word about his previous relationship.
Meron. Yung previous relationship niya who ended up dating his dad, di ba?
Oh, right! Oh, shit.
Yeah, ang sakit nun.
Oo nga. Okay.
Diba?
Yeah.
So, sige. So, that's Ashton. Si Natalie,
She is a resident.
yeah, she's a resident and medyo evasive siya with relationships. And then we find out later on na her dad passed away pala and she was the rock for her mom. Like, kailangan matigas siya.
The mom who is also...
Who
Or
brought
mom
about-
ni Mila yun. Yung mom na...
No,
ano rin,
Mom ni Mila
absentee
yung,
dun.
Mom ni Mila yung free-spirited hippie.
Yeah.
Kay Natalie, yun yung... Basically, yung nagdala ng boyfriend dun sa wedding ng sister ni Natalie. Sige, there was a car ride. Hindi kasi siya ganun central to the story compared to sa mom ni Mila. Pero anyway, mom ni Natalie, there's a car ride going to the wedding of Natalie's sister. Tapos may dala siya boyfriend dun sa backseat. And then the mom was telling Mila na parang she has to be softer daw kasi parang ang hard niya, ang tough niya when it comes to love. And parang sabi niya kay Natalie na parang I know na parang when your dad passed away, you were really trying to be strong for me. Ikaw yung sinandalan ko. But maybe it's time for you to to open up yourself and allow yourself to feel. Parang ganun.
Kabisado mo nga yung movie, no? How many times have you seen this film? I've seen it twice. The second one, as in like for this podcast.
4 times lang.
4 times is a lot.
Yeah.
4 times lang naman. And
So
then,
that's Natalie na. And then,
yeah.
yung sinasabi mo kanya si Justin.
Okay, si Justin naman, he has intimacy issues. The mother left or the mother died?
The mother left. Kasi, di ba may dementia yung daddy niya.
Oo.
Tapos, parang they have to remind the dad na, Dad, mom left you 10 years ago. Pag hindi
Alright.
dad,
Yeah, I feel bad for... Yeah. And then si Mila naman, never met her dad. And then yun nga, free-spirited yung mom niya. So, she comes and goes.
Yeah.
And then you noted here, insecure attachment, question mark?
It's more of parang, kay Mila to na parang, obviously yung mami niya parang, is it even now in the adult life of Mila, na very inconsistent yung mom niya. Magsabi na, let's spend time together. And then, the next thing Mila knows, umalis na pala yung mom with another guy. So kung ganun si mami niya ngayon, I can imagine na medyo inconsistent din siguro siya as a parent when Mila was a child. So kung, I think we spoke about this in another podcast session natin na when your parents kasi inconsistent yung parenting nila sa'yo as a kid, then you really grow up na yun ang expectation mo for the world. As part of yung parang internal working model mo. Na I cannot trust people to be consistent.
Yeah. So, do you think that's the reason why Mila is so open to... Siya yung nag-propose, diba? Parang, why can't we have sex like we're playing tennis?
I think it's Justin.
That was Justin.
Yeah, I think it was Justin. Pero when you say kasi parang insecure attachment, it's not necessarily ayaw mo ng commitment, pero it's more of sometimes pwede maging clingy behavior, sometimes maging distant. It's like you kind of don't know what to expect. So, yun, feeling ko that kind of, I guess, affected Mila din, na I guess in her relationship na maybe sometimes she can be too clingy, especially sa start.
Was she too clingy?
No, yung sa start, like kay Justin, yung kay Jesse Eisenberg ba yun?
Jesse Eisenberg wasn't there.
Who's that guy? Not Jesse Eisenberg.
Justin Long. Charot, I don't know.
No. Yung yung cop sa isang series.
Oh!
Kamukha ni
Brooklyn
Jesse
Nine-Nine.
Kamukha ni Jesse Eisenberg.
Oh my God. What is his name? Andy Samberg.
Andy Samberg.
Yeah, he's my crush. He's so cute.
Yeah. Kasi di ba parang, I think there was that line na start na parang nata-throw off si Andy Samberg kasi parang intense daw nila.
Yeah, but I think it's just Andy Samberg's character not being mature enough to handle a woman. Yeah. So, okay, well, for their setup, let's do Justin and Mila. With their background, may factor ba kung bakit sila open to a friends with benefit setup, or it's not too complicated? They just wanna really have sex just like they're having tennis. I think